Shikha takes a no bullshit 360-degree approach to mental health that blows traditional therapy out of the water. To me, she is the present and the future of mental health and wellness. Am I living with JPH? Shikha, I'm so happy that you agreed to do this.
Because my pleasure.
Yeah, we've had like a journey to be here today, and this feels like a culmination for me. So Shikha, I think I never actually told you the story of what led up to me meeting you from my point of view. The whole thing really started, I was just sort of minding my own business. I try and go to like the sauna a lot just to keep me like level and check. Somebody from the Ananda just came and they said to me, oh, the healer who is here at the moment, there's somebody who wants to speak to you. And I thought it wasn't for me. I didn't really understand. And I think he said, oh, will you speak to her for 5 minutes? She's come in here for a very short period of time. And I thought, okay, like going to the sauna's not urgent, right? So I think you were maybe sat down. It was a very public space. I don't know if I'd changed or come down in my gown. And we spoke. And but before that, what I really noticed about you is you were wearing all white, because I think in the Ananda they ask everybody to wear kurta pajama, so like the two-piece white outfit, which they have everyone wear, which I love. And you were sat with like your legs crossed, you were like super chill, but you had this like, for me, this like big feeling. I felt this big feeling, and I think it was definitely from you and who you are, but I think I felt something. And then my journey and my, loads of things have changed since then. But I know that you've said to me sort of in the past, it's not usual for you
Not at all. I don't know why I did that, but I did that, yeah.
Can you sort of like take yourself back to that moment? Was it like a feeling or a knowing, or what led you to ask?
So, you said it right, we don't usually do that, and I wouldn't do that because, it's a matter of choice if a person wants to come and do work, and we'll talk a little about the work that I do. But I remember that day very clearly. I saw you, and I saw your body language, and I saw the way your face was. It was just the energy that you held in that moment.
Yeah.
And you just, when you were describing it, and I think in certain words you did mention how you were in a bathroom and you were just walking around. I saw a person who is a bit lost.
Yeah.
And not lost in the spa.
Yeah.
But a bit lost and in search. And I just had this impulse, and I did not actually reach out to you. I just told this colleague of mine, that girl up there, I really think she needs to do this work. She really needs to go deep and explore herself, And usually he wouldn't do that. But he just walked up to you and he said, I think you should meet her. And I was like, oh. But Actually, I was glad that we had that conversation because, see, when two people are connecting, there was that energy that I felt from you, and I felt it and I expressed it, and I'm glad I expressed it because it got us connected, right? So, and I know that the therapy that I offer and that we offer over there, it is going to make a difference to you.
Yeah.
I knew somewhere that it's going to make a shift. You know?
Yeah.
So, because when you have something and you can kind of offer it to somebody and see the shift in the other person, why not? But it was very strange how that
I know.
panned out.
Beautiful. Yeah? But so when you're talking about, because this is a word I've actually adopted, and the more I speak to people, I know people use that word energy a lot. Now, you're saying you sensed that there was an element of lost and search.
Yes.
But moreover, when you say like there was an energy, can you describe a little bit more what that is? Is it like a gut feeling? For me sometimes, for example, when I'm trying to understand what that word energy is so people can understand it, is that sometimes you don't have to have words, but you can understand how somebody feels.
Yeah.
I have a sort of like empathy, or I've had that feeling before, and I can, when I see that person, I can feel that feeling from them, but not in a way that like I'm struggling or I'm lost or whatever, but just that I feel a connection.
Of course, that is what it is.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, but that's amazing that you've just said that then, because for me, this is the first time out loud that I've been able to say what energy means in a way that's almost understandable, right? But only because we're talking about it now, because I want to delve into everything, like how everything about your work and your process is fascinating to me, that those are that you felt that you have that ability, and that you know that you have that ability to see that in people.
We all have that ability. You just said that you can just look at a person and you can feel what they are feeling, right? And that ability is coming from your own superconsciousness. You can call it subconscious, you can call it superconscious. It's your consciousness connecting with another person's consciousness. And there's a reason, there's a magnetic pull sometimes. In this room, there'll be 10 things. But when you enter a room, there's a magnetic pull towards something. And that yin and yang kind of gets, activated. Because there is something in you that needs to go towards that energy, right? And that connects us.
But from my understanding of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, this all comes down to feeling.
It is a feeling. It is all about feeling, isn't it?
Because when we've spoken in the past, like as friends or in a session together, I think a lot of people get stuck on, I'm having these thoughts, or I'm having this thinking. And you always have been very good, I've understood from you, that it's about coming back to that feeling. But what I feel strongly about is now I understand that, so then I can connect to other people, and I know, I'm feeling this feeling or energy from that person. Like, I'm interested in this person because it makes me feel a certain way, right? So we agree, right, that everybody has that power to have that feeling, but I feel as if people don't know to tap into it.
That's it.
Right?
Yes. So now I'm going to ask you this. What is the reason people don't know that they can tap into it?
That's what it is.
What is the reason they don't know?
But that was my question to you almost.
So the reason that they don't know that they can tap into that all-knowing feeling, that all-knowingness of them, is because most of us are constantly engaged in the external reality.
Yes.
Right? When I'm thinking of what's happening outside. Thought makes me external. I'm thinking about something, I'm thinking about someone, I'm thinking about the past, I'm thinking about the future. I'm not present.
Yes. So,
Isn't it? Yeah.
We were meant to 100% from whoever it was, or whatever it was meant to me, because that's the real crux of the title of the podcast. Am I living? And we're in this beautiful space, you know, felt vehemently, strongly, we wanted to have this conversation together here. And that's really interesting and special to me, because I felt like from the minute I first came in, you know, took my shoes off and came into this space, I was able to be more than do all of those things. Yes. How would you describe this sort of space that we're in?
So I've chosen to call this the self-heal space, simply because each of us has the potential to heal, the potential to be our highest self, right? And the idea about the space is to get you in touch with that all-knowingness. So it is the self-heal space. The moment you come here, the shoes are taken off, so you can allow yourself to be your vulnerable, your own self, you know. So there is no guard around you, right? Because what we are delving in this space is an inner world, is exploring yourself, your emotions, your feelings, who you are, and what is your potential that you're not tapping into, what are the resources that you're not tapping into so far.
Did you then do a lot of work in this space with yourself where you tapped into those things?
Of course.
Yeah.
You need to, right? If you don't do that, then we all need to.
But did you do it in this particular space?
No, this is not the physical space, but yes. But mine has been a journey of, I mean, my own healing journey has been separate, of course. We all have that space within us. See, when I say the self-heal space, it's got nothing to do with the external. It's got nothing to do with the room. When you took off your shoes, it's got nothing to do with this physical space. It's got to do with your internal space getting ready to open up, right? So my journey with self-healing has been that finding that self-healing consciousness, that space has been, of course, a journey of its own.
No, there's so many things that have come up, and I really want to delve in to that. But I just, because we are, you know, here, and this has enabled us to be the space, and this is a big part of your work and almost the background, I almost feel like it would be nice to understand that space a little bit more. So I think it's called the SelfHeill Space. And how do you feel it came from being, you know, a space that you hired to that SelfHeill Space? What was the journey if it wasn't a self journey?
So, so the work that I do now is working with people to facilitate them to get in touch with their consciousness. Yes, to tap into their resources, to reprogram their limited beliefs, and to get in touch with their feelings and emotions, and really tap into their power, which is dormant and not activated so far, right? So I needed a space, of course, to function, although online we are all functioning pretty well. But I actually was not sure if I really want to set up a whole full-fledged operation of a space and, you know, getting people in. But this message came to me in a dream that I should just, you know, go for a space. Not with the intention of anything, but knowing and trusting that people who need to heal are going to come, and their own self-healing ability will be activated when they get in touch.
There's so much there then. So it came to you in a dream. Is that a normal thing for you?
Sometimes, but that was a very special one, because I remember the whole branding came to me in the dream, and a lot of answers came, you know, in the dream, which everything wasn't connecting in my head consciously. I wasn't sure if I should just go full-fledged into a full swing.
We're definitely going to, you know, speak about and flesh out is about bringing the conscious into the subconscious, because it may be very unusual that you had it in a dream, but
I would put it the other way, going through the subconscious into the superconscious. We all have a purpose to achieve on this planet, right? All of us, I mean, each of us.
Definitely
We've come with a purpose to live out this life.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
But we get so entangled in the nitty-gritties of life, what is happening around me, how my parents are, how I grow up, what I shape into, what personality I take up, who I become, you know. We lose touch with our true purpose. A lot of times you would feel it when you are driving back from work. I know a lot of people who are in corporate work, work life, they're just robotically doing what everybody has told them is best for them to do. And then you reach a point where you're questioning, what am I doing? You know, why am I not happy? I'm doing my best, but why am I not happy? Why is it not giving me joy? Why am I feeling like I don't want to go to work, etc.? Because we have not tapped into that light, that purposefulness of ours, right? When you get in touch with that purposefulness, that is your super consciousness guiding.
So
right?
in like one sense, if I'm understanding, is when we're talking about, you know, it's great to feel rather than think. And you know, like as you're saying about driving in the car, some people come to solutions when they're not doing things, when they're not working. And my sister, for example, she is a solution solver when she goes for a drive. It's her like 5 minutes, her brain clears and the answers come.
Yes.
Would you say that this, your subconscious going to your superconscious, and then when you wake up, it comes to your conscious?
It is basically consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? And subconscious is where all your memories are, all the data is there. From the time you've entered your mother's womb to now. All the experiences, memories, and even before that, all the data is there. So all the information is there. When you're sleeping, you're tapping into that information. The subconscious knows why you're here and what is it that you need to do, right? You're clear, you know. So when you're in a dream state or when you're driving, the subconscious takes over.
Yes.
Right? Because the conscious mind has too many message units coming at it, and it just gives control to the subconscious. When you're driving, when you're sleeping, there's no conscious mind.
Yeah.
Right? And the subconscious will always guide you. Me looking at you in that space was guidance. You getting overwhelmed and wanting to work with a modality which you are not usually going to go for, is your subconscious guiding you, because this is in your higher good, this is going to get you back on track, right? So I would say it's the subconscious guidance.
Subconscious going into the superconscious, and then you wake up and your conscious self has an understanding.
Yes, you got it.
And in another way, could you describe that as instead of thinking, it's being more associated and tapping into your feelings, or isn't it not really the same?
See, what I would say, if I take the thread from what you said, subconscious has given me a messaging, and now I wake up. There are two things that can happen. If a subconscious is giving me a messaging to go make up with somebody I just hate and I'm angry with, for whatever reason, my conscious mind will reject that. It'll suppress it, right? And I may not take action on it. And I will keep doing what I'm doing and keep feeling unhappy. But if the subconscious has guided me and I bring it to my conscious awareness, and now I've woken up with that conscious awareness because I'm ready to take action. And if I take action based on the subconscious guidance, life is effortless.
Definitely.
You know, the big problems that seem like big problems will become really tiny. You know, if we just listen to our inner voice.
For me personally, and it might not be the same for a lot of people, and I know you're explaining it, subconscious, conscious, superconscious, that I think can be a very new idea for a lot of people.
Just think of it as your own consciousness. It's the light that you're born with, you know, or the intelligence that you are born with.
Well, I suppose I mean, I'm 100%, you know, I'm with you, because I love all of this and light and going from, you know, these over thoughts or this conscious place where you're not really being or living to consciousness, 100%. But I was touching on this earlier, and because years ago now I was diagnosed with clinically generalized anxiety disorder, i.e. meaning I had, according to the doctors, all the 10 markers for having generalized anxiety disorder, so extreme overthinking and worrying about things that aren't actually there. Coming from that place, or understanding how I felt when I felt anxious, for me, really, I understand it as I've paraphrased a different sort of thing that you said, is that instead of thinking and listening to those circling, repeating voices, whether it's I'm driving in the car, right, and I'm not thinking, or I'm sleeping and I'm not thinking, or, you know, I lie down, this is something I do, I lie down and I meditate and I try and listen to what my gut feeling is that feeling is me tapping into my subconscious. And once I tap into it, then the superconscious comes into play.
Taking action on it.
Yes.
Will take you to your
Yes.
goal. Yeah, which is set by your superconscious.
Yes. Because I think I love all of this description that you have about, you know, like bringing light and being conscious, but keep coming back to it because I think so many people nowadays, especially in this world where we eat like so much processed food and work so much and sleep is not prioritized, the brain scientifically thinks, and a lot of people understand anxiety thinking and not so much feeling and subconscious.
I did not say it was easy. I did not say it was easy.
Yes.
It takes work to get there.
Yes.
It takes work to get there because there's so much that we've fed into our system since childhood to now. We've created so many programs. We've created so many beliefs. We've created so much of baggage that needs to be undone.
Yeah, we need to.
Right? And then knowing, a lot of people will come to me and say that, but how do you know what's your voice? There are hundreds of voices in my head. So who are those 100 voices of? You know? And sometimes going directly into the subconscious and exploring that makes it much easier.
That's what's
of
really
course
beautiful.
you need someone to facilitate you through that because there may be a lot of pain, there may be a lot of trauma, there may be a lot of things that you yourself, your conscious mind may not want you to go there because you have to function today. You cannot go into a zone where, you know, you are not able. So taking help helps, right? But once you work through that and you open all the doors where you've locked yourself in, it's easier, and release all these voices, then get in touch with your voice. Life is much simpler.
How do you think people can, you know, be willing to take that risk or do that thing, to do that hard work? Because I think that's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
How do you think they can, are there like tricks or tools or something you think that people can do?
See, there are very simple things that, see, if you see the world today, across the world, it's a global phenomena. Everybody is caught on a hamster's wheel.
Yes.
We are just doing,
Yes.
and thinking, but there's nowhere we are going, right? So a lot of people
That's the first trick that you've actually just given us, is to know. There's no way that we're going.
What are you doing? Ask yourself that question. What am I doing? Where am I going? What is the reason? Am I happy? Am I really truly living, as your podcast says? Am I truly living?
Yeah.
Or am I living out my life, my truth? Or am I living the truth and life for others, others, right? And once you have that question, and let me tell you, a lot of people, especially after COVID, have tapped into that questioning. That self-questioning has begun, and which is a very good sign.
Yeah.
Right? So first is to look at yourself. What are you doing? Ask yourself, what am I doing? Who am I? Right? And once you start that questioning, there are so many ways of being in time, making time for yourself. You know, start there. Make time for yourself. Prioritize yourself. And it's very difficult to do that. Right? A lot of people want to do it, but it's so difficult. There'll be 100 excuses or 100 reasons why I cannot. Right? But what is stopping me truly? You know, when you writing is the best way to get in touch with yourself. Handwriting. You know, and when you're writing, a lot of things, guidance will come. You know? So when you start the journey of wanting to heal, wanting to make a shift in your life and transform, you're ready for
I think
diving in, and really then people want to do it and they will get there. It's the intention.
I think that's beautiful. It's just, it's the intention. Just ask yourself the question. You're not doing too much. You don't even have to take 1 minute. You don't even have to take 5 minutes. You just have to start with a question.
Yes.
Right?
Be aware and see what are you doing in this moment.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
No, that's something you said to me loads, and it stuck with me because it's so easy to hold on to. Could you tell us a little bit more about what the work you do is?
Yes. Each of us are born with a huge potential.
Yeah.
All of us. If you see a baby, the baby has no inhibition. It comes into the world fully charged, right? But as we are growing up, the behaviors or patterns of other people around us, especially our parents, which are the core relationship of the teachers, the school, all the rules and regulations, the rights and the wrongs, all of it starts to create a certain belief system, a certain, we process emotions in our own way. We are still trying to understand. We create our own programs to keep ourselves protected, right? We start to follow what others are doing, right? And over a period of time, especially in the first 7 years, which are the formative years, we start to create a program so that we can go through life and understand how to go through life and fit in, right? In that process, what happens is the potential that I have brought with me, the uninhibitedness, is kind of clouded by all of this, right? And as we grow up, we start functioning on that program, even the cells in our body start to work in that way. Our mind starts to process information a certain way. We start to feel things a certain way. We start to express a certain way. And as we grow up, we become more of a programmed human being than a fully conscious, spiritual being who has taken a body to accomplish a purpose on this earth. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I'm just, now to break it down even further and to keep it simple, what the work that we do is, now if I have programmed myself in the first initial years of my life based on the environment and how I respond to environment, it may not be working for me at 35, at 40, in the space I am today. So if I was told to keep shut so that there is peace in the house, if you reply back, it is not good for the peace in the house, there may be disturbance or there may be fights. I have created a program that I need to keep shut, and let things function the way they function. Now I'm a grown individual, and my work or my life requires me to express myself. But there is a program that is holding me back, and there are lots of times we will feel that I need to be a certain way, but no matter how much I try, I just can't be. And there's a sense of helplessness, right? And so that is what we call a block.
Yes.
That is coming from a subconscious level, right? And it is inhibiting me from being myself in a situation which I know I can be, but I'm not being able to. So the work that I do is to go back to the subconscious, open up that file, where this started for me, where this program started for me. Now it could be in the childhood, most of it is in the childhood. It could be recently, if I have been in a traumatic relationship, I have to create a behavior for myself to survive. It could go back to a past life. It could go anywhere. It's a pool of consciousness, right? So you go to the root cause and you explore that memory, because there would be a different perspective to it. And after you have explored that perspective and understood what really happened that has created you, that has made you the way you are, the healing begins. You create a new neuro pathway, a new way of thinking. You create a new way of dealing with situations, that it is okay to reply back, because it could have changed things in a way.
So we're talking a lot about connecting with like the subconscious and these things we're not aware of, right?
Yes.
And that would be a very new phenomenon for a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
Did you have your own journey with this? And where did that begin? Let's go to the beginning.
Oh, well, if I go to the beginning, I'll just tell you how I probably reached where I've reached. You know, it started with claustrophobia.
Okay.
I suddenly one day, I think I was 20, suddenly one day I panicked in a closed space full of people.
Yeah.
I was going to a movie hall and something happened. I couldn't breathe, sweaty palms, and my heartbeat went up. So that was the first time, and I had no idea why, because it was a perfectly happy time going with friends. And this continued for many years. I was working in advertising, and that work requires me to fly and travel, live in hotels which have windows that don't open.
Yeah.
And I realized that, and after many years I realized it's claustrophobia. I didn't even know what was happening, right? And but it was manageable till a point, but I reached a point where it was not manageable, and I was told by doctors that the only way to manage it is through medicine. You need to take an anti-anxiety pill. And I really didn't think that was the solution.
Yeah.
Something in me said that is not the solution.
I love that. I had that myself.
Yes,
with my
and
anxiety.
something is happening to me, and I have no idea what is happening. I used to run down from the 9th floor. There's a meeting happening. I used to run down from the 9th floor to the ground floor to just take a sip of air and come back to the building, you know, because it was all closed. So it was almost going into the abnormal zone. So I decided to do something about it when I fainted in a flight, right? And that's when I heard the medical emergency announcement, and that was like the point. And that's when I explored. I remember I went to a Reiki teacher. She was teaching Reiki, and she used regression using Reiki tools, and I found that very interesting because my stage fright went away in just one go. Right? And I thought this is very powerful. She told me, why don't you explore clinical hypnotherapy? You know, because that is the one sure shot way of getting rid of phobias. And I was like, if it's that simple, I'm going to go for it. But what is it? You know, and then I realized that, you know, people put you in a state of relaxation and trance, and then they work with the subconscious. Now, I had trust issues that time. I had major trust issues. Yeah.
So just going back, because so first you were in this movie hall at age 20, and you had what you describe as a panic attack.
Yes.
Right? And how did that feel for you, or do you not even recall it now?
I recall it. I recall it, but it doesn't do anything to me. So
how did you feel in that moment?
In that moment, oh my God, it was, like I said, the heartbeat is racing, I can't breathe, and my hands are sweaty, you know, you're feeling literally a panic going on, like I'm going to faint right now. There's nausea in the stomach, all these things. See, the doctors very easily said it's just a phobia, you know, but it was real for me. It was a physical reality for me, right?
Was it the doctors, you think, and because you spoke to them afterwards, why you didn't do anything about it after that moment and you carried on with having claustrophobia?
Honestly, I went to the doctors many years later because I thought I could manage it. You know, I can manage this. It's just a small thing. I can go past this. It's okay.
That's why I came back to this, because I think a lot of people will have moments similar or something different, and they don't know.
They don't know because we have never felt it before. Like I said, we are trying to process something new, like even as children. Now here I was an adult. You're processing something that is unknown, so you're trying to create your own patterns and programs to get over it. My way of dealing with it was that I'm going to sip some water. I'll always have water with me.
Yeah, good. You need that.
My way of dealing with it was that I will always book a seat in the front row of an aircraft.
I did the same thing.
My way of dealing with it was that I'll book an aisle seat. Basically, you start to create a life around it.
These
you understand?
patterns.
You're creating a block, different blocks to fit in with that issue. And then one day I realized when I fainted in the flight, that was almost 15 years later.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, 15 years I lived with it. And that's when I knew this is not okay. Because I am not in charge. I'm losing control. I've cried in flights.
Yeah.
You know?
In that 15-year period, you feel as if you must have had other incidents.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah. And we keep going for that long.
Yeah.
And then so in that plane, you're saying it was the announcement that was your aha moment, memory. That's when everything changed for you.
After that, I decided to take action.
Amazing.
So I think that's the time I went to the doctor, and he said it's just a phobia, you know. But I said it's real for me. I'm fainting, you know.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that the medicine was going to do the job because he's not understanding me. There was something deeper. So I decided to do the hypnotherapy course.
Yes.
Because I couldn't trust the therapist at that time. What are they going to do to me, you know? I mean, it was so bad that I couldn't close my eyes and be comfortable with it.
But what's beautiful is at that stage, when even though it was 15 years, which, you know, is a long period of time, that you've struggled with this thing silently, that a lot of people do.
Yes.
You went to the doctor, which is, you know, very normal. But even then, which, if I'm not mistaken, you might call that one of your lowest moments, if not your lowest moment,
worst moment
in life.
Yes.
Even in that moment, when you were speaking to the doctor around that period, you had this inner knowing. Well, I could do it here because that's where I feel mine, so let's come back to it. My gut feeling is you listen to your inner self there.
Yes.
That's very powerful, because I have a feeling, I'm not sure, that a lot of people have that feeling, but maybe they're not in tune with it, or maybe it's there and they listen to their thoughts more. So when the doctor was saying it to you that, you know, it's a phobia, just do this, how were you able to kind of say, no, I wouldn't like the medication, no, I would like to do something else? Was it this other person, or?
I think it was pretty clear the doctor has no other way of treating me.
Yes.
And he was not interested in understanding me, because emotionally there was a lot going on.
Yes.
You know, for me it was like a huge churning going on inside emotionally, and no, he was not listening to me.
Yeah.
So for me that was a switch off. I switched off from him. And when I found this Reiki teacher, I saw her face on the internet.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the woman I need to learn from.
Yeah.
You know? And I went to her and she used that regression tool. So that stage fright going, and for me to understand where the stage fright is coming from, which I didn't know. And it was the smaller issue that I picked because it was a 2-day workshop.
Yeah.
And I realized that it took me to a memory when I'm a child.
Yeah.
And a teacher slapped me in front of the whole class for not remembering the poem. You know, I had a freeze.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a memory that I knew, but I never associated it with stage fright.
Okay.
And that freeze, because I always knew that I love talking in front of people. I love being on stage. I was a very excited kid on stage.
Yeah.
But one day I froze on the stage.
Yeah.
I didn't know why.
And are you going back to that moment after?
And then she told us to go to the first time. And of course, she used a very creative way of using Reiki symbols to do self-healing. And I found that very interesting, that was the cause of my freeze on the stage. I never connected the two. You know? And after that, I was presenting scripts, and I was presenting to clients with elan. It was all good.
Yeah.
You know? So I had a huge faith in it. Therefore. Yeah. So after that, I found the hypnotherapist as suggested by that.
It's almost the way that I'm hearing it from you is that moment. I know I keep coming back to it, and it's for good reason. Is that moment on the plane? Although it was your worst moment, it was so bad. Did you take your power?
I took
my
power. Yeah, you could say that, because I made a decision.
Exactly. Yeah. And we were talking earlier before we, started with the podcast, that we have to believe.
We have to believe.
That we can be better, that we can heal, that we are in charge.
Yes.
So you took that power the minute that difficult thing happened, and then from then on you said no to the doctor and you started actively helping yourself.
Let me just say this. Because I decided to do something about it, I didn't know how I'm going to do it. It's a law of attraction.
Exactly.
I saw the face of that woman on the internet, and I would not otherwise do it, but I reached out and I decided to learn from her.
Yeah.
And she was the person who guided me where I needed to be guided to.
Yeah.
Right? So because I made a decision and I listened to my inner voice,
Yeah.
everything else falls into place.
It's the way it always is, isn't it?
Yes,
Once
yes.
you realize and you tap in.
Yes.
So then you came and you started doing hypnotherapy, which is obviously integral to the work that you do. And were there ups and downs then still, or did you feel very clear from when you started doing?
Actually, I'll tell you something. This was a practice session that was happening when I was learning. First of all, it was scientific, and that's something that really intrigued me. It is not one of those things that somebody will come and heal me. It was very scientific. What is going on in my mind?
Yes.
What is happening? What could be the reasons? And I was doing a demonstration session with a co-student, and he asked me so many questions, and while he was asking me the questions, there was an aha moment. There was a bulb that lit. I knew why I have claustrophobia. You know, and I didn't know all these years where it's coming from. It came from fear, right? Because my father was sick when I was a child. So holding that fear energy, it triggered claustrophobia. I never connected again. So these connections lead to healing, and that is what was so incredible. And once I knew that this could be the start point, I could go deeper with the therapist.
Yeah.
You know, and it took about 7 sessions for me.
Yeah.
And I was, I think after the 7th session, I was in the dungeons of London. And it was unbelievable. I could do it.
So you were having 7 sessions of hypnotherapy. By this time, you'd already started the journey, so it wasn't like a battle.
I was already a student, and
Yeah.
I was already understanding the dynamics of the work. I understood it's scientific. I understood how the tools
Yeah.
that are being used. I was already doing the journey of being a therapist and being a client. But being a client was the more important part, because that is where the real learning was.
Yeah.
You know?
How did you know that the real is that what it is? Is the real learning is in learning about yourself? So you chased that.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because I did
beautiful.
not go there to learn to be a therapist. I went there to understand what are they going to do to me. But when that journey of learning begins, you're not learning just theory. You're learning about yourself. There's a lot of churning
Yeah.
that is happening, you know. What could have happened to me all these years? And there's so many things that become clearer. So it's a journey of self-learning, really.
And do you think that journey continues now?
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't, does
It never stops.
I think that's what
Never
people sort of misunderstand about things, is they think, you know, once I get here, then I'll figure it out. That's part of that battery.
Yeah.
But what's really beautiful to me, because it really resonates with me, is like this hypnotherapy, or like we use the word, even therapist, or as you call yourself, a transpersonal regression therapist. These words almost confuse people.
Yes.
But that whole scientific baseline means that you can understand it. Now, how does the science of hypnotherapy work from your understanding?
So, see, if you just talk of hypnotherapy, there are many tools that you would use as a transpersonal therapist. Yeah, but if you just talk of classic hypnotherapy, it uses hypnosis just to get you to a state of relaxation. It is to induce a trance-like state where your body is relaxed and your mind is relaxed. Because unless your body is relaxed, you cannot explore the deeper dimensions of yourself. Your nervous system needs to be at rest for you to go deeper, right? So you use hypnosis to relax the person, and in a relaxed state, the person gets into a state of heightened awareness. And through that heightened awareness, they can access memories and data in their subconscious, and the subconscious knows where to take you. It's an ocean. It knows where to take you, where you need to dive in to heal today. Because today is the more important part, right?
What's the scientific explanation of why the subconscious knows where to take you?
So it is actually coming from it's a huge study. If I get into it, it'll get into a theory class. So if I just tell you the science, it is taking on from a lot of the traditional psychology and merging it with the shamanic beliefs, and bringing in a very powerful, toolkit for people to find inner healing.
I think the important thing is that there's a science on it, and we'd love to do a 4 or 5 hour podcast.
We would love to do a whole 5-day podcast.
But we could do that. Maybe we could talk another time and go into that deep. But I think for me, that's what's important, is that the hypnotherapy has a scientific way that it works. Is it something to do with like the rhythm or beat?
So let me just tell you why the trance. Right?
Perfect.
So, or how the trance. The conscious mind likes to doubt.
Yes.
The conscious mind has a short-term memory.
Okay.
Would you agree? Now, according to the theory of mind, that we follow, that the mind is split in two. That there's a subconscious mind and there's a conscious mind.
Yeah.
Subconscious mind is what we say is about 88 to 90%, and 8 to 10% is the conscious mind, which is where we want to live, right? It is the part of our mind that has developed so that we can live in society, we can follow rules and regulations, and we can function, right?
It's where we're all kind of living, in that thinking,
we want
conscious.
to live there. Yeah, the analytical part of the mind that wants to analyze, put logic, But the subconscious mind is the feeling part of the mind. It is where all your emotions are. And that's why every therapist will ask you, how do you feel, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the important part to ask. Subconscious is where all your memories are, all your data is. Now, the conscious mind has short-term memory. So if I ask you, what were you wearing in the morning?
Yeah.
You will remember.
Yeah, sure.
But if I ask you, what did you wear 5 days back?
Yeah.
You have to dive into the subconscious, get the data from there, and then answer me. So subconscious is where all the long-term memory, all the long-term data is. And when you dive into the subconscious is when a lot of answers will come to you.
What's brilliant is just that simple thing is that you're saying actually our subconscious is, did you say 80 to 90%?
88 to 90%.
88 to 90%. So everybody, we are all, for the most part, living in 12% of ourselves.
Isn't that true? And isn't that the reason why we are constantly anxious, constantly, jumbled up in emotions, what we call depression now, because we have suppressed and repressed emotions for so many years. Because feeling is not important. When we are growing up, we are told it's not important how you feel, just do this, So we are used to brushing our emotions under the carpet, and we are not used to diving there.
That fact alone for me, which you've shared, that actually 88 to 90% of us is subconscious, is reason alone to go there, to actually look at your feelings, to change the way, I always keep coming back to this, but is to get out of your thinking conscious and to do work with people like you and go to that subconscious space. So hypnotherapy is just a simple sort of thing that doesn't take more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get into a state of relaxation.
Oh yes, it
5
takes
minutes.
Few minutes. I wouldn't say a solid time because I'm not looking at the watch, but it doesn't take long. It takes 5-10 minutes to get you into a state of relaxation.
And then, because with me, it was certainly the case that I was a almost too afraid of hypnotherapy.
Yes.
And to this day, and I've said it to you before, I don't even know if we did it or not. And I'm actually okay with that because we've done the work. And so whether we did it or not, it doesn't matter because I know I feel good the other side. What my question is what do you think is the fear or the thing that people find a bit unusual about hypnotherapy?
I think this whole fear around, I had that fear. They're going to hypnotize me. What are they going to do? I'm not going to be conscious.
Out of control.
These are out of control. That is the thing. We don't want to be out of control. You've got it. So we want to stay in control. I did the whole course because I wanted to be in control. What are they going to do to me? You know. So that is the main thing. We don't want to lose control. But just to clarify, when we go into when you use the word hypnosis, it's not like stage hypnosis. You become you do cock-a-doodle-doo and then you run around the stage. No, you are very much aware. So there are 2 times in a day when you are in a natural hypnosis. When you're going to sleep and when you're waking up. That passive state. When you're conscious, but your subconscious is coming up and the conscious mind is giving control to the subconscious.
Beautiful.
Right? And that is what hypnosis is. And that is what we as therapists are trying to hold you in that space. Right? So that consciously you are able to, conscious mind is there. If the doorbell rings, you can hear it. But the subconscious has started to bring out all the images. The subconscious will talk to you through visuals, through audio, through smell, through sensations and somatics in the body, like pretty much like dreams.
No,
right?
I love this because it's so funny you say that. My favorite time is in between sleep in the morning to wake. It's those few moments. People think they like snoozing, but I wonder, now that we're having this conversation, whether they like that feeling
of being in a hypnosis,
of being
in a state
out of control but in control, but they don't know. So if we talk about hypnotherapy as if you're snoozing, I wonder, it is. Could open the door to so many people we don't know.
It's not just the most interesting time, it's the most powerful time, because this is the time when you can plant things in your subconscious. Now the subconscious is running your autonomous nervous system.
Yes.
Yeah. So if something goes into the subconscious, you automatically become it.
Yeah.
It's so simple, right? So hypnotherapy works like this. And once you are in a state of depth where you can access the subconscious and the subconscious can show you things, re-experience things, then that is the point where the healing can take place. Now a lot of people who are scared, like you were very scared of hypnotherapy, and we don't necessarily, and that's why I use the word transpersonal holistic therapy. We can use other tools to help you access subconscious. The important part is to go to that part of your consciousness that can have the answers and can help you heal. So we can use your emotions, your imagination, your visualization, your memories as bridges into your subconscious. Right?
No, I think that's what's beautiful. Is so we're talking about one of the deepest ways to do it is hypnotherapy. But as you say, there's loads of things that can be done. And I always have said to you, what I like most is you have a multidisciplinary approach. So for people who aren't necessarily ready or still a bit too uncomfortable with hypnotherapy, what's kind of one of your favorite approaches? I know you've mentioned you like affirmations before.
So I'll tell you, it depends what is one thing that when I was telling you about the doctor, it's very important to see the person, hear the person, understand the person. You understand? You are a person and you are a whole person and you're a special person. Somebody else is a different person. So as a therapist, I would not have, okay, this is the toolkit, let's apply this. I will first see who is it I'm talking to. Somebody who's not, there are people who may I remember there was this one woman who came and she said, we had one therapy session and it was mind-blowing for her, because it really gave her a lot of answers why she was, why her relationship was getting affected. And the second session, when she came to me, she started talking, and I'm thinking, okay, so we'll just listen. And she said, I'm here today to tell you about my secrets that I have not shared with anybody since I was 5 years of age.
She just wanted to let it all out there on the table.
She just wanted to talk, and we spoke for 2 hours, and I did nothing. I just heard her, and that was the biggest healing for her. So it depends from person to person. So sometimes one just needs to listen. Sometimes a person may be very open. They may just automatically, spontaneously go into a very emotional state. They're already in their subconscious. So from there we can access what needs to be accessed for their healing. And they will access, I'm just facilitating. And the best part is it's an internal experience for the client. Some of the people are very logical and very analytical, but they know something in them has brought them there for the work.
Well, that's what I think it was for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
For you were ready. You had already explored, I think, shamanistic healing.
Yeah.
And you were already floating in that questioning mode.
Yeah.
Right?
It's as you said earlier, is I don't feel fully as if, I may have been lost, who knows. I felt lost for a long time. But I felt like I was searching, and I didn't have the answer.
Searching.
Yeah, so it's that was your description.
Yes.
That's exactly how I
Yes.
felt. What I find really interesting is, because I want to know wondering whether it feeds in, is you were saying your journey kind of partially began when the doctor who told you your claustrophobia, he wasn't listening to you.
He wasn't listening to me. He didn't understand me.
A big thing that I think is, because I've been delving in this and thinking about this a lot lately, is that there are so many miscommunications in the world with people in relationships, all sorts of things, because they feel as if they aren't being understood.
Absolutely.
So do you think where you felt misunderstood by this doctor, or he wasn't listening to you, do you think that's fed into why it's so important for you to listen to people, or does it come naturally?
It is important to listen to people. But why am I listening to people is the question.
Because they feel misunderstood.
But why am I trying to listen and understand people? Because I have learned to listen to myself and understand myself.
Yeah.
The doctor didn't understand me, wasn't listening to me, but I didn't listen to myself. I didn't understand myself. The more important journey of self-healing is to learn to listen to yourself. The therapist is just starting it for you.
Wow.
So that is the more important. So when you said that why we feel misunderstood and not heard in a relationship, the one thing that we need to understand is we are not feeling heard, number one, because the other person is not feeling heard. And we are not hearing them because we are not hearing our own selves. We are not in a habit of listening.
No, but
right?
I find this so beautiful, because coming from when I saw you for the first time, which was only about 5-6 months ago, like I find myself now in my relationship, and if there's a conflict that comes up, then I'm wondering what's going on, and then I think, well, wait a minute, because I don't really like fighting, right? I prefer to understand the other person. So somehow I've now understood in this moment, why I'm saying is I feel very grateful that I keep thinking, what's going on, and then I'm going, but what is actually going on with them?
Yes.
And maybe I can only do that now because I have done the self-work, and I do that with me.
Because you made space for yourself.
But I didn't know that, right? Yes. So, we're always learning, we're always doing these things. That's fascinating.
Yes. And you asked me if when people are not ready to do deep work, affirmations, when we are talking, right now you had a realization. Because the subconscious is always on. So when there are clients who are not ready to do very adventurous work and go dive deep in the first time, just questions, the right questions, are going to get the answers from the subconscious. And that realization, that internal experience is what is the more important part of this work, right?
I think that's what, is that what you would say one of your skills are? Because from where I'm sitting, where I've been a client, that, and I, you know, I'm saying boss bitch, no bullshit approach. For me, I use that description because when I have been in a semi-trance or in a regression, as you describe it with you, it's very easy for my conscious thinking to go, no,
to step in.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't want to go there, it's too hard, right? And then I have found that you used very specific questions to focus me. Is that how that works?
When the conscious interference comes, the conscious mind is trying to protect us. It's actually a very good friend of ours.
Yes.
It is trying to protect us from going to areas which are uncomfortable,
Yeah.
painful, you know,
Yeah.
unknown. Unknown is always uncomfortable. So it steps in. So in that moment, you would have noticed I take you deeper. And when I take you deeper and ask you a question, the subconscious will respond. And then again, the conscious mind is a bystander, you know, because it knows that it's okay, you know, that safe feeling needs to be there.
And it's almost like we're not fighting. There's not that feeling. It's not like pain. It may be uncomfortable, but we have to go there.
Go there. See, because there's a very nice thing that I heard long time back, and it really made an impact on me. There was this young girl. She told me that, you know, she did some sessions and she realized that self-love is the key to her healing, and she started doing that and she felt much better, right? So, but she had a question. She said, "This is me. This is my father. This is my mother. And this is my brother. We are all connected in pain because we've seen pain together, because the father was an alcoholic. There was a lot of disturbance in the house, you know, a lot of fighting, shouting, yelling. And she said, but we are so connected in pain. And you're telling me to break this chain.
Yes.
Step away and start to love yourself. Isn't that selfish, you know? But then when we started talking, I mean, I'm just going into what I told her now because somebody else told me something else, but I told her that pain is comfortable.
Yes.
For her,
Yes.
isn't it? She was so comfortable in pain, even though she knows that she feels so good here, loving herself. It is an unknown, and it is very uncomfortable to step into the unknown.
Right? I think a lot of people have that.
For the mind, that is the tough part, because we are comfortable in pain. To break the comfort, we were talking about get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? So the moment you start to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, you realize that you can have a better life and it's not so hard, right? It's just that flip has to happen.
How does that flip come about, where you're from holding on to pain and then you start thinking of other options? Is it questioning? Is there something you do?
See, a lot of times, if there is trauma, you know, we as children can go through trauma, as adults we can go. If there is trauma or a freeze in the subconscious, the mind will not access that on its own. Because it is a no-go zone. I may get physical reactions which I may not be able to handle, right? So what we call somatics. So it is important in such a case to take heterotherapy, you know, to reach out to a therapist, because your own mind won't let you access it because it wants to protect you. So therefore, when you say that she is a no bullshit therapist, you feel that because you didn't want to go to those areas. They were painful for you. But for me, it was important for me to nudge you there. Right? Because if you don't go and heal those corners and bring out those inner children out from those dark spaces, you know, you will not experience what the other side feels. Right? So as a therapist, we can get you there. So here you require some support. But once you've done deep work, then the mind itself will start working with you.
And it naturally flows.
Naturally, like you said. Now I asked myself, let me listen to him. Let me hear what he is going through. You know, and the moment that is happening, your subconscious has become your friend now. It is guiding you. So you don't fall back into patterns. Right?
So we have hypnotherapy. Then Affirmations. How do the affirmations?
So affirmation
work?
is more like you've done deep work,
Yeah.
right? It's like when you go for a surgery.
Yeah.
You've done the deep surgery. Now you have to follow you have to follow a certain routine. You have to wake up on a certain time. You have to do conscious work. You have to eat the pill. You know. So affirmation is more like whatever understanding and wisdom I have got from my subconscious, I need to consciously remind myself so that the space that I've made inside is constantly filled with this new input. What will happen then? The cells start to change in the body. It takes 21 days for the cells to completely change and to create habits, right? So when you're taking an affirmation back with you, you're feeding in new information into the cells. You're creating a new thought process. You're creating new neuro pathways. So the affirmation is a new program that you're feeding yourself. And that affirmation has come from your subconscious. That's the most powerful part of that.
That's what I'm trying to understand in a more sort of scientific, tangible ways. How does that affirmation come about with you, with clients? I mean, I know we've done it
you've done
with
it.
me, but how would you describe?
So there are many ways of doing it. We can create affirmations when you are in the deep state.
Okay.
Your subconscious is doing the work. It is seeing what has happened. You're gaining new perspective, wisdom. And you yourself will say, I'm feeling so happy. I've never felt this happy. I feel love. I feel like I deserve to be loved. So it's a new program that you have downloaded. And then at a conscious level, I will ask you to make a sentence and remember that, you know.
I'm just wondering, you know, for people who maybe can't come to Delhi and, you know, come and do a session with you, although there's obviously online sessions as an option. If they're not ready to try hypnotherapy, is there a process to doing affirmations that they could try?
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things that one can do is, number one, and that's the more difficult part for people who like to think a lot and go into loops, is take a pen and paper before you go to sleep and write down, how am I feeling right now?
We come back to this, the feelings.
Don't go into stories. Stories come from the conscious mind. Go into the feeling. What is the emotion that I'm feeling? And it may take time to get to that, but get to that. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling jealous. I'm feeling so angry. I feel rage. I feel helpless, you know. So write down all the feelings and then just write next to it. See, these are the feelings feelings are directly coming from your subconscious. So the moment you write those feelings, you already have an access to the program that is running right now.
Yeah.
To change that program consciously, now write down, what is it I want to feel instead of all of this?
Yeah.
What do I want to feel? Instead of sadness, I want to feel joy.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling dead inside, I want to feel alive.
Yeah.
You know, so replace it. Replace the feelings. And then look at those words. I mean, try and create a short affirmation. So take 3 or 5 or whatever the words that are calling out to you, the feelings that you want to be. Put them in a sentence. First person, present tense, I am. The moment you say I am to your mind, the subconscious believes it is that. You know. So
is this the reframing part of the work that you do?
This is conscious reframing.
Conscious reframing, love that phrase.
Or reprogramming, conscious reprogramming. And it only works with repetition.
Reprogramming.
It only works with repetition. Because each day you have to tell yourself that the more you repeat, the more it goes into the cell memory. And that's why I tell you that before going to sleep, after waking up, say it 3 times, definitely. Repeat it to yourself as many times as possible.
So an affirmation is like a few sentences or phrases that we repeat to ourselves.
That we want to become, that we want to affirm we are.
Phrases that we want to affirm that we are. Reframing or reformation.
The reframing can happen at a conscious level like this. Or,
that's the process.
Yeah, but at a subconscious level, a lot of reframing happens as well. Right? And
that's the special work that we would do in a session with you.
Yes.
So for people, for example, you know, I have a lot of friends and they go, you know, like, Jessie, I really want to meditate, but I couldn't do it. I really want to do journaling, but I couldn't do it. So like, what would be your advice to somebody who, you know, maybe they got a pen and paper before bed and they tried to write it down and they couldn't find their feelings? What would you suggest to them?
Keep at it. The thing is that like I said, the conscious mind wants to keep us protected.
Yeah.
It doesn't want us to go to uncomfortable zones, right? So, but the more you question yourself,
Yeah.
what is the therapist doing? He's questioning you.
Same.
The more you question yourself, it's an overload on the conscious mind because it doesn't have the answers. So it has to give control to the subconscious. So ask yourself, what is the reason I am not making the effort to write? What is stopping me? And maybe you don't have the answer that night. Sleep. Already when you go to sleep, the subconscious is doing the work for you.
That's beautiful. That's why the timing to do it at night time is nice.
And it will give you an answer tomorrow, or it
Yeah.
will guide you to do it the next day.
Yeah.
A lot of people even do to-do lists in the night so that they can actually, because then the subconscious becomes your personal secretary.
I actually do that. I do mine at the end of the night, then I know what I'm doing the next day. I'm ready to go.
And you will realize that even if you're not consciously thinking about that task, it has happened.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious has made you do it.
Yeah.
It's an automatic response. Right?
So affirmations is the phrase. We do it before bed, and if it doesn't come to us, then we just try again, and we try again, and we try again, right?
Yes.
And then the reframing.
There are a lot of people who will pick up affirmations that are already there. For there are many books out there to pick up, but what comes from within your subconscious is way more powerful. So if you can create, understand what am I feeling, what do I want to feel,
That's what I was coming to.
and put it in a sentence. Then, and what action can I take to do this? If you put it in a sentence, in a short, crisp sentence, self-contained sentence, or 2 sentences, or
so let's try and do one now then, right? Because just to make it really clear.
Okay.
So say for example, so this is the reformation part of it, right? That's the word you use, reformation?
Reframing?
Reframe, sorry, that's why I'll just be 100% clear for my sake.
Let's reprogram.
Yeah, so we're reprogramming, right? So say I'm with my journal now, I usually am with my journal, so I wish I had it.
So journaling is writing whatever is coming to your mind.
Yeah.
Journaling is different. It is almost like you're just kind of taking stock of what happened.
Yeah, it's letting it out.
And you're letting it out, right? Journaling is different. But if you're really wanting to do work on yourself, right? Journaling is work on yourself, because a lot of realizations will come to you if you're a regular person who journals quite regularly. But if you go really deep into if you want to do this exercise, you just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now?
What am I feeling right
now?
now?
So give me 3 feelings that you're feeling right now.
Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this now. But okay, so I am feeling
how difficult is that?
I'm feeling like scared
To
take myself to the next level.
What else are you feeling? Scared?
I'm feeling like happy.
Happy. And what else are you feeling right now?
I am feeling nervous.
So let's just stick to these 3.
Yeah.
Now, the scared, happy and nervous. You're in a good space.
Yeah.
Right? But do you think the scared and nervous can hold you back? It is a good thing to have scared and nervous, but I'm giving you an option.
In this
change
instance,
this.
I don't feel as if that, because I feel empowered when I'm around you. So
now, if I was to give you this is what I feel: scared, nervous, and happy.
Yeah.
What do I want to feel? Now, here is where free will comes in.
Got it.
What do you want to feel instead of scared?
Yes. Courageous.
Right. Happy is already, it's a good thing
strong.
to feel. Yes, so courageous, strong, happy. And instead of nervous, what do you want to feel?
Actually, the nervousness for me is good because...
but I'm giving you an option to go into a more higher state.
Yeah, just more balance.
Balance, see?
More balance.
So now, happy, strong, courage and balanced.
Yeah.
If you were to make a sentence, first person, I am, because the moment I believe I am, I become it. So I am, and put these words.
I am balanced, strong and courageous. So that becomes
happy.
And happy.
Correct.
So we've actually done it there.
So this is the affirmation for
Yeah.
you. And now see how comfortable you were with nervous.
Yeah.
But it's very nice. I've lived with it all my life. Let me stay here. But I'm saying now lift. You can go to the next level, and that's balanced. Isn't it better?
Yeah, that's the power of,
Yes.
you know, working with you.
But now you don't have to work with me for this. Now the moment that resistance comes, resistance is the tipping point for healing. You know?
Well, one of the things, like from my point of view personally, is when we haven't had sessions, I've actually taken that process. I actually do that reformation. You know, I did it to understand clearly how it works. But I think, as you said, it's like a second stage maybe for some people. The first stage is journaling, just write everything down, get it out.
Get it out. Actually, I give another, journaling is, you know, the good and bad, everything that happened. But there is also something called venting. That is way more powerful, because a lot of us don't want to be bad. We don't want to say bad things. We need to be, you know, following towing the line every time. Even to our self-dialogue about others, we don't want to say a wrong thing, but we are feeling it, right? So there's a venting exercise wherein if you have a problem with somebody, or you have very strong, like somebody really triggers you, or you are just feeling something that is just getting to you, you can either write a letter to a specific person, or you can write whatever you're feeling but unfiltered. Put a clock, put a timer for 20 minutes, and don't let the pen leave the paper, even if you scratch and scribble, it doesn't matter, but you just take it out. You want to curse, you want to write whatever is in your mind, don't filter it. Okay? Unfiltered, write it. And then when you have nothing more to write, tear the paper or burn the paper, but don't let the fire alarm go off. Burn the paper safely. It is extremely beautiful, because that is read by the subconscious as a venting. It's gone. And letting go. So the tubes and pipes in the body, like we hold physical stuff, there are invisible tubes and pipes. What we call as meridians or energy channels. And the emotions that we are not expressing, the words that we are not saying, they are energy, and they are stuck in these energy channels. And when they are stuck in these energy channels, they are going to eventually manifest in the body, right? So when you're doing this venting exercise, that channel is cleared. And every day when you do it,
it gets it out.
It gets it out. And the next morning, you wake up with a very clear perspective. It's like a clear tummy.
It is, isn't it? Know? It's like digesting, getting it all out.
Done.
There's so many nuggets of things. There's so many tools that we've like talked about. Hypnotherapy is the, you know, really deep, one way to do deep work. General journaling, just get out your thoughts. Venting, using two different methods. One is writing a letter to someone that you have particular feelings, whatever they are, and write it to them from your point of view and get that out on paper. You can also burn that one or fold that one or do whatever you like with it, right?
Yes.
The other type of venting.
Tear it or burn it. Destroy it.
Definitely. I've actually done that myself once or twice as well before. But then the other type of venting letter is to just write something knowing that you're going to completely burn it and get rid of it. It doesn't have to be
the journal you don't burn. The journal you keep.
We've talked about what affirmations are and how powerful they can be in shifting limiting beliefs to a new place. Right?
Yes, and that also is what is empowering, is that you can do it yourself. You know, and you just have to be at it. Never give up.
That's a key secret, I think, anyway. And then one of the last things that we've spoken about is reprogramming. But I think also you've summarized that really simply is write your feelings down.
So take out the garbage. Put in fresh waters into the system through the affirmation. And so also sometimes, you know, it may be that, you know, I just have a statement constantly playing in my mind. I'm not good enough. You know, I will never be able to do it. You know, if you if you're really self-aware, it's difficult to catch it yourself, but if you're really self-aware, and if you catch yourself saying a self-limiting statement to yourself, the self-talk that you're having with yourself, catch yourself there with awareness. Change the statements, because those statements are your program.
The thing I find with that as well, though, is and because I struggled with it myself, is that people don't always know that they're having those.
That's why I said that if you're really aware, then you will catch it.
How do you become aware?
Again, it's either question, ask. Ask what is going on, what am I feeling, why am I feeling this, what happened that I feel this way, what caused it to happen, do I want to feel this way or do I want to feel different, because you always have a choice, right? So question yourself. Otherwise, if you feel stuck at any point, of course take support, you know, because each of us are at a different state or different point in our journey, and sometimes I took support, and I think it was the best thing that happened to me.
I think a lot of people take support and they don't talk about it until they're with someone. And that's also really important. More people are starting to now.
Now more people are starting to.
But we need other people, and we are here together to understand each other, right? It's like it's not like fighting versus doing things together. But for you, what are sort of your key, you know, like 3 to 5 things that you do on a regular basis that helps you keep your conscious connected with your subconscious, or help you to be you?
So while we can do deep work, you know, we need to eventually tap into our own intelligence and our own genius mind and stay connected to our selves, right? That is the main thing. We need to be fully integrated human beings, you know, working towards a higher purpose, right? So, and there'll be always something happening to disconnect us from what we need to be connected to.
Mobile phones, TV, Instagram.
Always, because this is always constantly interfering with our frequency. So now, we need to have touch points in a day that we connect us to ourselves. Now, some people might say, but you know, there's so much to do for this person, that person. But we need to prioritize ourselves, right? So, wake up early in the morning, create a routine for yourself. That first moments in the morning, you're closest to yourself. You've just come back from yourself into the external. And that's the time to really do things to connect with yourself.
And what do you do in the morning?
Each of us will have different. I would meditate for a while. I would, you know, pen down things to do through the day, you know, or I would reconfirm it from the to-do list that I may have made last night. I would do a yoga practice that kickstarts my day, getting in touch with your breath, aligning with your body, because I'm alive, I'm in this body, and this body is going to make me execute my plans.
Definitely.
So let's just tell our bodies that we love it. So I'll do yoga in the morning. I will then, you know, the rituals of the day, you know, you'll have tea, you'll have, you know, breakfast. Eating meals on time is very important. Respecting our own existence through meals is very important. Eating clean is very important. Then through the day, the work will happen. But again, in the middle of the day, make a touch point. You know, either just stay with yourself for 5-10 minutes. We can always walk into a meeting room. We could always walk into nature for 5 minutes. Nobody minds. You know, because people take smoke breaks. For longer.
Exactly. You can have a nature break. You can have a breathwork break. You don't have to take a cigarette break.
Connect with yourself. And if something is really on my mind, I would write it down, because sometimes, you know, if you stay in the space, in this space, it is space element over here. You will go everywhere, but you will not be here. So a good way to root yourself down is I write down whatever. If something is there, then I will write it down. Now it's on paper. I can look at it once I've finished whatever I've done. So it's not roaming around here. You know, and then in the night again, you know, meals on time, and I would definitely wind down. There's a ritual to wind down. You would turn off the lights, watch content that is nourishing rather than self-destructive, because like I said, you're going to sleep, everything is going into the subconscious. There are thrillers on Netflix.
What's your nighttime routine?
My nighttime routine is winding down. I'll have my dinner early, and then I'm going to, maybe do some stretches before I sleep. And those stretches are actually me telling myself that I care about myself. Right?
Oh, lovely.
Maybe I will read. If I have to watch some content, it has to be lighthearted. And it has to be humor. It has to be something that really makes me feel good. Or I would read content again that is, that is not stimulating. And then I would keep my lights keep shutting down one by one, so that it's getting dimmer and dimmer and then dark. So that the mind takes it as a command that it's time to sleep. I will have some essential oils or incense sticks burning in the room. It's also then the last half an hour, I'm going to just be with myself. I'll switch off everything. I'll not even the book. I'll just be quiet.
And you sit or you
and
meditate?
It's always good to wind down with a 5-minute meditation. Sometimes it can go longer, but minimum 5 minutes. Right? Sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes you're totally ready to crash. But take 2-3 minutes to close your eyes and just connect with your breath. I do that, and that for me is like almost a command for me to sleep now.
I just think it's really beautiful, because I think all of the things that you've described, from morning meditation to a specific yoga time in the morning, to taking a break in the day for, journaling or whatever it is, making an intentional, evening plan that's over a period of time, ending, with a 5-minute meditation, is there's no pressure or forcefulness in your approach that, I'm going to meditate. There's no timeline. I have to do yoga for this period of time, or I have to work, or I have to do this. Actually, you're a bit fluid with it.
If you're not fluid, then you will not be able to maintain it. So some days you'll have so much time, you can do a 2-hour practice. And some days like today, I just had 20 minutes. But I took those 20 minutes to do 3 to 4, postures or some breath work. But just that also kind of grounds your mind. The important thing is not what you do. Some people love cycling. Some people love going to the gym. Do it. But that is you telling yourself that I'm making time for myself. But whatever grounds you in the now, because that feeling will go with you through the day. And that's the feeling you will attract through the day.
Do you think that's why it's nice to start with it and end with it and include it in the middle?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Whatever works for you. This is mine. Yours might be very different. Right. So we need to go with what it is that makes me connect with myself, or connect. So sometimes just playing with your kid can be a connection with yourself. You're kind of But we all need to find our own expressions of our own understanding of how I connect with myself.
No, but what's really nice about this
you?
is A, that you, as I said, there's no pressure on it. B, it sounds like at this point for you now, these are just bread and butter. You've been doing them for so long that they just happen, right? You make sure you give yourself that 5 minutes.
Yeah, but there are going to be times when you slip off. You're traveling or something has happened, or when you slip off, we need to amble back. We need to climb back, because otherwise it's very easy to fall off. We need to.
And how do we come back every time? How do you find that you've come back?
Again, you need to,
question.
Get an awareness. How am I feeling? I'm not feeling good. My energy is low. I'm feeling shit. I'm not feeling nice. I need to get back that feeling of yes. It's me.
The biggest takeaway from what you do for yourself to stay balanced and grounded and be who you are, I find, is that these are actually things that either a lot of people already do, or, they don't really inhibit you from being productive or doing all of your work. But it sounds like, I don't know what you think, that if you already play with your kids, do you kind of, at the end of the evening, do you reaffirm and say, this is my time for me, that keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
Right? To
Yeah.
shift that mindset
Yes.
to I'm
Yes.
I'm looking after myself, I'm prioritizing myself.
What is nourishing me?
Yeah.
We don't ask that, no? We are always thinking, what can I do for someone?
Yeah.
What can I do for the boss? What do I have? What did I not do for others? It's for the external. But what is nourishing me is what we need to ask, Am I nourishing myself? Am I taking time for myself? Because without that nourishment, if I keep giving, I'm going to be drained and I'm going to be depleted. So that's when exhaustion sets in. So we need to keep nourishing. And if your energy levels are going down, you already know the physical body is a mirror of the mind. So if the physical body is giving you a pain, or it is giving you
Definitely.
some kind of a indication that something is not right, that already is telling you that you need to manage your emotional world, your inner world, and get back on track. So that's listening. That's truly listening.
I mean, there's so much there. There's so much we didn't touch on, like yoga and all of the other wonderful things that you bring into your practice and who you are. But I think, ending on that, being in touch with yourself, nourishing yourself, prioritizing yourself, coming back to your feelings, those for me are like the big things that I think you are really able to teach people in a way that helps them feel as if it's coming from them, and it just flows so naturally.
See, one of what we don't realize, people come with anxiety, and like you said, you had a debilitating case of anxiety. We don't have the basics in place.
Yes,
that is the main thing. The basics are sleep. That's going to organize your nervous system in a way that will keep you healthy, right? The nervous system will be relaxed. Sleep is the most important. We deprive ourselves of it because we have to work. We have to
I actually just came back
eating.
From I know. These are things again I wanted to flesh out more with you, because I just came back from a monastery, and the first thing they said to me there, as soon as I'd sat down, we hadn't even gone into my room or anything, is they said, first of all, what you do is you get your sleep and your diet right. Then everything flows.
Everything flows. What is the reason? Because these are the things that will ground you in the body and will keep the body connected to you. Otherwise, you're checking out constantly. These are the most important things. The basics have to be in place.
Yeah, so everybody's already doing them. They just need to tap in. Yeah, wow. So I feel like I could cry. So much good stuff has come from this. So thank you so much for letting me do this today. Yeah, real pleasure.
It was my pleasure, truly.
Hit the follow button on the podcast platform where you're listening to this. It helps us produce these episodes, take you guys to those wonderful places if you're watching online, and hopefully is sharing with you some inspiring nuggets of information.